Afternoon, wonderful evening, and tremendous morning. And this is Carla from from Rehan Allahwala's World of Connections. And I am here today to speak to this wonderful lady, Zainab Khan, who is teaching children or teaching people to feel confident and empowered in their lives. Having said that, I want to remind you that this show is sponsored by the Institute of Peace, which is an online organization promoting peace, one conversation at a time. Zainab, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, Carla. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share about my journey and the work that I'm doing. And I think the work that you're doing and the Institute sponsoring this conversation, this session, they're amazing because these are the productive conversations that the world should know about. So a brief introduction. My name is Zainab Khan. Currently, I am in Calgary, Canada, and I'm co-founder of an organization with the name of TAKMEEL, Teach a Kid, Make Individual Life. And there's more to it, and the details will come as we proceed with our conversation.
Okay, can you tell me a little about your work so the audience knows about you and I know more about you?
Sure. I would like to start from connecting with the audience who are listening to us, and we are connecting with each other today.
Can you speak a little louder? I'm having trouble hearing you.
Can you hear me correctly now?
Yeah. I
Okay.
can hear you better.
Okay.
Come on. Now I can hear you. I think you turned off. Take off the earbuds. It'll be better without them.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I was talking about the opportunity that we were given when we had our first day at school, and that was the day that changed our lives. And if we reflect back on the journey of lives that we have, all the accomplishments that we have had, the education, the successes, and the happiness that we have, it all comes back to that one single day. And that was the day that changed your life. But unfortunately, in 21st century, when we are planning civilization on Mars and we are exploring other planets and solar systems, the world has 258 million out of school children. And let me help you understand this number, this figure, what it means actually. So that means that 1 in 5 child in the world, they are out of school. They never got the chance at education. And if we try to understand this problem more, all of these children, majority, the higher percentage are in developing countries. And if I talk about my country, Pakistan, there are 22.8 million out of school children. That means that around 40%, 44% children who are between the age of 5 and 16 years, who should be given the chance at education, the basic right of education, they are out of school. And if we further dig deeper into this problem, we are looking at 77%, around 15 million of out-of-school children that are in villages, small villages, far-flung areas. And over there, if we try to understand what kind of living situations those children are living in, they're very different from the situation and the conditions we have. There is no electricity in those villages. There is no basic infrastructure or the basic access to life facilities like health, like clean water, like other things. There's no internet. They are digitally isolated communities. But there are children, millions of children in those communities who do not have access to education. So the work of TAKMEEL, Teach a Kid, Make Individual Life, is to empower those children with the help of education, with the help of technology. But what we are doing is very different from what the world has been doing traditionally. We are not going there and we are telling them that we will build schools or infrastructure. We are going at their doorsteps, in those communities, understanding the culture that they are living in, the cultural sensitivity of those communities, understanding what their expectations are, and then using the community infrastructure, we are setting up non-formal community schools. So now this is something that is very different and unique. And I'm sure that now the audience would have so many different questions. What does it actually mean? So it means that an out of school child in the village, they're not just at one age. Not all of children are 5 years old, not all are 7 years old. They're multi-age children, starting from the 5 years age to 16 years age. What to do with a multi-age group who have never been to school in their lives? How do you get them education? How do you develop basic literacy, English literacy, Urdu or numeracy? How do you get them on board on the process of education? So what we did is that we developed a curriculum, and that is an accelerated curriculum, but tailored and customized for these children who have zero literacy. They're starting from scratch, clean slate, nothing, never been to school. And we are introducing them to the concept of education, but not just that, we are integrating technology, and technology in a way that will work in those communities despite having no electricity, no internet, no infrastructure. So that technology actually delivers the video lessons on daily basis. These children are assessed through the technology. These children are given education, and all of that is happening in their communities without the need of building infrastructure or brick and mortar schools. And since 2017, we started our journey back in 2015, January 2017. We started from 45 out of school children in the area of Mardan. And since that time, we have been able to reach more than 35 communities across Pakistan. But let me remind everyone, all of these communities are small villages, not the main cities. I'm talking about Pata. They are villages near the border of Afghanistan or Pata regions. And over there, we are giving them education. I'm talking about Balochistan. Yes,
Can
Carla.
I ask you to do me a favor and
Yeah,
speak a little slower?
yeah,
Because
sure.
people who are watching from Pakistan or from another country may understand English but need you to be a little slower.
Sure, I
So
can do that.
I was having trouble finding time to burst in.
Yeah,
Can you tell
okay.
me what was it that got you so passionate about this? I love your energy and I love what you're telling me. But
Yeah, so
how you
um,
got started?
it started from when I was a university student. I was doing my research in genetics in Quaid-e-Azam University, Islamabad, and we were living in kind of a bubble, determined, to become scientists and explore the world. But we never knew that in the capital, in Islamabad, and Quaid-e-Azam University, that university is one of the high-ranking universities of Pakistan, and where it is located near diplomatic enclave. All the embassies, all the international embassies are over there. So you would imagine that the capital of Islamic Republic of Pakistan and that area, there would be no out of school children, right? All children would have access to education, but just few kilometers away from that university, there's Kachi Basti. And that Kachi Basti has a lot of hundreds of street children, mostly Afghan refugees. And I never got to, meet them. So one day, I and my friend out to just explore. We were bored in university and we went out and we met with those children and we discovered a school over there. And when we discovered a school and we saw that that school is for street children. So let me help you understand who these children are. These children, when they wake up in the morning, the first thing that they have to do is they have to think how they are going to earn enough money to get a meal for their family. So some of those children are cleaning windshields. Some of those children are, selling something. Those are the street children, but they never got the right education. So I started volunteering for them, and I met one child, and his name was Yaqub, and he was from Afghanistan. And I also come from a small village in Attak, and I love my village. And he came from Afghanistan, and all the memories he had of his village were dark memories. His village destroyed, nothing left. And he was in Islamabad, and all he was doing was working to support his family. He had no hope whatsoever in his life. But the only hope he had was education. And that was the only thing I could offer him. So I volunteered for that child, and we went for that school for 6 to 7 months. And I learned that for children like Yaqub, other children who never got chance at education, their generations would never get out of that cycle of poverty unless they are given education. So that was my passion. That's when I kind of felt very differently connected with those children.
And when you're talking about, you obviously made a wonderful connection. And being connected to kids is extremely important. In fact, I have been involved with that for many, many years. Do you also work with them to learn who they are and not just teach math or English and things that they need, but not necessarily in a way that we think they need, if you know what I mean?
Yes, yes. You see, Carla, the education system that we have, it does teach us how to add or sum 2 plus 2 equals 4. But the real education is learning to become a human, the true meaning of human. And that's what we did in Takmil, that we worked on a curriculum that builds social and emotional skills of children, that teaches children the value of being human, how they can actually understand themselves, the emotional awareness that is very, very important, emotional intelligence, teamwork, helping others, building relationships, coordination, conflict resolution. So we worked on these things because I understand and we understand that apart from the literacy requirements that we have, the important thing is we help those children become better humans for the society, for their own community, so they can help build peace. They can actually help their community. They can be responsible citizens for our country, for the world, actually. So that is something that we made sure that is part of our model.
Which is wonderful. I am a real believer that we can teach the skills, but most importantly, we need to encourage children to do what is important to them.
Yes.
For example, I worked with emotionally, educably retarded children my last year. And of course, in the schools, get the standards, but these kids had no capability of doing that.
Yeah.
Yet I had a little girl who learned to multiply 3 digits by 2 digits without a problem when she was 13 because I used techniques. Yeah. What do you do to help the child get over the barrier of fear so they can learn and they can move forward?
So when we start from the first step, that is introducing the concept of education, because these children have never been to school in their lives, we make things fun and easy for them. So that means what we do is for every lesson, there are activities and low cost, no cost activities that are very relevant in their own culture, in their own setting, in their own classroom setting, or in their own village. And they can learn from those examples, those activities. For example, if they have to learn numbers, what they would do is they would just pick a stick, they would stand outside, all the children making a circle and writing with that stick what the numbers would actually mean, then adding them up. And then some project-based activities. So once a child actually learns counting, and there is season, and the season was of cotton fields. In Sindh interior, the Mirpur Khas village, there is a season of cotton fields. So the children, what they did, once they learned numbers, they went out with their elders, they sat down, picked up their notebooks and told them that we will help you count the sacks of cotton that you have picked up, and we will tell you how much you have actually made, the revenue that you have generated that season. So those are practical examples that help them overcome. And then because it's a multi-age group setting, 7-year-old child is also sitting with an 11 years old child. That means one child is actually acting as a peer, a supporter, and the other child who is 7 years old, he looks up to the elder children, and then they pace up together with their relative velocity, and then they learn together. So it's very interesting concept that you make use of all the resources and make that journey very productive, engaging, involving, and help them overcome all the barriers. So it's more like that they have to do it at their own pace, but eventually they do it. So that's what matters then.
Wow. And how many children have you impacted so far?
So over 2,500 children have been impacted under the umbrella of Takmil. That means more than 35 villages across Pakistan.
And how do you go and visit the villages at all, or are you?
Yes, we do visit the villages. There is a team in Pakistan who conduct those visits and everything. But what we do is that over there, these schools are functioning because there's community member, and that community member actually is trained to actually lead that project. And that community member is responsible for, taking the lead. He or she is the community advocate or champion, and they are given that opportunity to be responsible for the success of their project. And then after given training of 3 months, extensive training on different techniques, because these children are different than the children who would go into formal education. Their needs are very different, and we help them understand what they are actually dealing with. So once they are trained, they are responsible because they know the culture of that community. They speak the language. They know the cultural sensitivity, the norms over there, the traditions over there, and everything. So they can actually ensure that the project is successful. They know the community well. So they actually take care of all of that journey. But we have a team of 55 people across Pakistan, and they take care of visits as well. And there's a proper process because, in non-profit world, what we do is that we are passionate and we want to do things and we want to change the world. But it's important to understand that you cannot change the world if you learn how to make that project successful. So what we did is that we incorporated training, the content delivery, monitoring, very, very important thing, monitoring, daily basis monitoring of the child journey of learning and success, evaluation, and periodic evaluation to see how your child is actually learning, how your organization is moving forward, and then finally progress tracking. And that progress tracking gives you the ultimate outcome and that pleasure that you see at the end of it.
And you've been doing this for how many years now?
5 years. So on 15 January 2022, we celebrated 5 years of Takmeel's journey.
Now, are you doing this with friends who are still in Pakistan, or are you doing this separate, from with people where you are now?
So we have it's an international organization. So in USA, Louisville is the community where Takmeel started from, and there's a community who are supporting those projects. And here in Canada, we also established Takmeel as a separate entity. And then Takmeel is in Pakistan, and that team is responsible for taking care of the projects on ground. So I am in daily communication with the team, and we work together on the progress of the projects. And there's so many different projects that we are doing. So that is how we are all connected. There's a proper organizational structure and that hierarchy that we have established, and it goes through proper processes then.
And so are you also sending books and
yes, let me give you an example. So if there is one village and there are 25 to 30 out of school children, and that village has no school, no access to schooling. Within 5 kilometers, there is no school at all. So what we do is first 3 months, there is an extensive process of, understanding the community and making the project feasible for the first day of school. When the community member is identified first, we take the data from the community, how many number of children are there, what are their ages, what are their gender distribution, their social economic factors and everything. And then we prepare the project. We train one person and we extensively train them, certify them. Once their process is complete, for example, there are 30 out of school children. So what we do is we do not build infrastructure. So we are not working on construction. We make use of the community infrastructure. What does that mean? So that school would actually operate in a building which is provided by the community. At times, what happens, it's an abandoned school building, maybe government building that is not functional. It could be a mosque. It could be a community member house. It could be a common community space like Bathak. So these are the places that the community have, and they can actually dedicate those spaces for 3 to 4 hours daily for that school. What we provide, what we do actually. So Takmil provide training, provide the teachers training, the books, stationery, technology, that means the access to video lessons, and also the mini projector, solar panel systems, monitoring and evaluations, and also combined everything, assessments and everything. So we do not construct the building, but we provide them with all the necessary elements that are required for their education. That's what we provide.
So in providing that, how I run a program similar for kids in India.
Okay.
When we first began the program, the people, the volunteers, literally had to go into the school, into the villages, and beg the parents to say, "Hey, can the kids come to school?" And then after a while, the kids were saying, "I don't want to stay home. I want to go to school and learn." Do you see that happening in your program?
Yes. What happens is that our community members are living in those villages. So they are well connected with that community. So once first phase is the awareness campaign or advocacy campaign. So the community would know something is happening for education in their community. They're told about the meal because they have so many questions. Parents have questions, of course, and we need to address all of those questions. Who are we? Why are we doing this? Why are we, bringing education? Do we have any other agendas? So we clarify as much as we can so they can trust us. And that trust bridge is that community facilitator. And initially we see that there are few children coming, but when this actually word spreads across in village, all the children come to the school and they start learning. And then they are part of the progress. So retention is one thing I would say, that once the project starts, if you are able to retain the children in your project. But if you make the learning process easy, fun, and engaging, that's what we do. Our children retention rate is over 90%. So we do not face the challenges of retention. So that is one thing that we make sure that once a child is in the system of Takmil, that child is actually building a sustainable future. They do not drop out of our system, actually.
So what is the most exciting part of this process for you?
Sorry, can you repeat this question?
What is the most exciting part of this process for you to do?
For me is because we are, when the community starts this project, we know that now this is starting from scratch. These children come to school, they're clean slates. We can tell from their faces that this is the first day that they're having at school, and that's just the beginning for them. And after 1 year, when we see a change in their lives, these children are speaking and these children are telling about themselves, how education changed their lives. we then actually feel excited about it. So there's one story that I will tell you. There's one village in Mirpur Khas, Sindh, and its name is Abdul Karim Kashkeli. That village is around 60 to 70 years old. So since the existence of that village, there was no school. And few years back, like 2 years back, we set up the Meal School over there. And now first actually girl who actually completed primary education from that school has now started formal schooling, government schooling. So that's very important story, and that very exciting story for us, that first girl in 21st century, first girl to complete primary education in that village since 70 years or 60 years in that village. So these are the most exciting part. Once these children complete that journey, they are at a point where they can support themselves and also the other children, their communities as well.
I love it. What are the basic skills that you teach? Like, do you teach, if a child is interested in wood carving, would you teach them? If a child wanted to learn about speaking English or sports, how would you guide the child?
So the part is that it's a progressive journey. So the first 3 months is basic education. During that time, we are focusing on developing basic literacy. And during that time, we guide the children on a routine so they know what it actually means, basic English, basic numeracy, Urdu. But once they start on the journey after 3 months, then they complete towards the primary education or elementary education. And that's the beauty of it, because it's accelerated curriculum. So 12 months primary literacy, then 1.5 years elementary literacy, that is the grade 6, 7, 8. During that time, we give the children opportunity to have sport days, debate, speech competitions, art competitions, different days. And those days give those children an opportunity to unleash their potential and show their talents and what they want to do. And now when they complete the program, what we do is we have introduced additional programs. For example, we know that digital literacy skills and freelancing skills, they are very important to actually empower them just from the comfort of their home. So we are building those skills for them. And then there is additional need of vocational trainings as well. But we are not providing vocational training at the moment. We are connecting with those who are providing vocational training. So we do not have to do everything by ourselves. We can partner with other organizations who are working on those things and then provide more opportunities for those children.
Where do you find these people who may be vocational?
So there are different organizations in Pakistan who are working on it. I know few. There's Kavish Foundation, there's Hunar Foundation, there are other organizations who are working around that. And once our children reach that elementary level, then we are looking forward to connecting our children with those programs. Yeah.
Wow. It's a really cool organization. And you said you've only been doing it for about 5 years now?
Yes.
How did it grow so quickly?
I think it's the passion and determination that actually helps, and persistence. But then there are supporters that we have across North America, in Louisville, who trusted us and who believed in our mission. And we started from few projects, and then we grew eventually to this level. And now we have around 24 projects functional in Pakistan. And because the project that we are offering, the model that we are offering, it's very unique. Unique in ways that if we talk about this model, it is scalable and it's sustainable. It can, because the nature of this problem is so big, 22.8 million children in Pakistan and 258 million children in the world. We should be looking for innovative ideas, out of the box ideas that can be scaled, that can be replicated in different contexts. So we knew from the start that this is something that we can have faith on, it will grow. And when we started getting results, when we started seeing change, more people joined, more support actually we got from the community. And that is how we grew with time.
Wow. And how many people are heading the organization right now?
So as I mentioned that we have a total team of around 55 on ground in Pakistan. And if I talk about boards, there are 3 boards. So there's board of directors in USA, there's 1 board in Canada, there's board in Pakistan. So I have founder who actually started this mission, Dr. Shahid Kamal, who is based in Louisville. Then I joined later and I started as a volunteer, and then I took a transition towards being a co-founder. So I and Dr. Shahid actually are involved actively on daily basis. And then there is leadership and support of other people who are supporting us and who are helping us grow.
That's really very, very different. I appreciate all you're doing. Is there anything that you want to leave our audience with?
I would say that, first of all, I would say thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to spread the word. Because, these are the things that can actually help other people out there. We do not know who is listening to us and from where they are listening. Maybe this is what they needed in their community. Maybe this is something that they are looking for. So if there is someone out there and who need support for out of school children in their village, they can reach out to us. And our website is takmil.org, takmil.org. And definitely we would love to partner with any organization who are working on the similar mandate. And if you want to support us, that is something that you can do. But at the end, I would say, Carla, thank you very much for, being such an amazing human being, for spreading the word. Because what you did today, these 40 to 45 minutes that we have spent, you have actually helped become a voice for those children, those millions of children. The world do not see them. They do not hear them. You became the voice for them today. You became the person who could communicate and, say a word on their behalf to the world. So thank you very much for, becoming the voice for millions of children out there who just have one hope for getting education. And if that could be real for them, their lives would change totally. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for your kind words. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Carla.
And I look forward to speaking with you more and seeing what we can do to make English an important part of this project you do.
Yes.
Have you been teaching your students English?
Yes. English literacy is part of the basic literacy, yes.
So we have something that we definitely can partner on.
Definitely, definitely.
And I want to thank you for spending your time with me. I know that it's valuable and I really appreciate it. And I want to remind everyone in the audience that this show is sponsored by Rehan Foundation. Now, Rehan, the Institute of Peace, which is a part of Rehan Foundation or Rehan's network.
Yeah.
And we're here to have a conversation with one conversation at a time will bring peace to the world. When we understand each other, peace does grow. Yes. Thank you so very, very much for speaking with me today. And do you have anything else you want to say?
I think that would be it. Just that what you have done, this is how peace will prevail. And we are helping, these children to become better humans. So the world could be peaceful for everyone. Thank you.
Okay, let's wave goodbye. Thank you so very much. And there will be more interviews coming in the next week.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Thank you so much.